this year we had the first time we have a ASEAN Defence Ministers breakfast together. It was actually a very useful and very open conversation. It was very organic, so we discussed and shared perspective on how we read the geopolitical picture of how the big powers are relating to one another, and also how, as a smaller countries, as ASEAN as a group, how we relate to the bigger powers. We discussed how we need to make sure that we keep our region open, free, accessible, and secure. This not just about the shipping lanes, but also about the airways, so that we can continue to retain our reputation as an attractive investment location for us to get those investment and create good and better jobs for our people. But there were also exchanges on non-conventional security threats that we are all facing, because very often some of these non-conventional security challenges will also overlap with the conventional security challenges. So overall, I thought it was a very useful breakfast, and I think all the ministers who participated enjoyed it, so much so that they say that we should do this every year when at the sidelines of a Shangri-La Dialogue, that we should come together and have a meeting amongst just the ASEAN defense minister to share our own perspective. Of course, beside this platform, we also regularly meet up with one another in other platforms, but they thought it was a very useful platform. So we thank Philippines for co-chairing this with us this year, because this year Philippines is the ASEAN chair. For the first ministerial roundtable, I thought it was a very open and dynamic discussion. So some of the topics that we covered include, for example, how do we secure public support and political commitment for the long-term investment in defense necessary. And when we talk about long-term investment, it's not just about the budget commitment, but it's also about committing good people to serve in the defense sector, and how we build up our industrial capacity over the long term. Because in the business of defense, it is a long-term business. It is not about the here and now. It's not about investing in a feast and famine way, but investing consistently so that we can build up those capabilities. So this topic came up very prominently. And of course, there were also the exchanges on the geopolitical perspective of how big countries, medium countries, small countries look at the world, and what are some of those challenges. A third area that we covered very interestingly is how do we manage technological and operational transformation in the area of warfare, because we have seen how technology has changed warfare. But beyond that, how do we induct new technologies into our armed forces? How do we manage the contracting so that we get value for our money, relying not just on conventional military suppliers, but also new and innovative companies. So then we also talk about how we need to build trust, that as we increase the defense expenditure, we must also have correspondingly increased the effort to reassure one another, so that it doesn't lead to a situation where I try to increase my sense of security at your expense, causing you greater insecurity. So these were the 3-4 major themes that we covered during lunch, and it was a very open and free-flowing conversation.